Hello, everyone. Welcome to Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD. And today we'll be reviewing and analyzing chapter 1032 of One Piece. I really have to say, this is a really stuffed chapter. Oda was really trying to fit in and cram in a lot of stuff going on. And I was here for it. There was a lot that happened, and I can't wait to get into it. Before I do, if this is your first time on this channel or you haven't been here before, do me a solid. I've been working on this for quite some time. Please, please, please like, share, and subscribe. I'm just a small YouTuber trying to come up in the world. One Piece is my favorite shonen of all time, and I eventually want to, move on to bigger, better things and start talking about, a bunch of anime and like live action and comics and stuff like that. But I really need, viewership, and I really need likes and all that. Blase, blase, blah. So please help a brother out. It would mean the world to me. Join my League of Otaku. Anyway, without much further ado, let's get into this review. All right, so chapter 1032 of One Piece, Odens Beloved Sword. I can't wait to get into this review. So first we have the cover art. Like I've said in my other reviews, this isn't my spiel. I don't really deep dive into these. It's a cover art of Yamato delivering packages with two black cats. Apparently this is a reference to a Japanese company that has two black cats as the logo. Pretty clever, pretty cool. But for me, my shit is cover stories. That's what I crave. That's what I really want to see. So this wasn't that. So let's just get into this chapter because there is a lot to discuss. So first things first, we start the chapter with Marco carrying Izo. And apparently Marco is more injured than I would have thought. I really truly didn't think that Marco was actually, suffering that much. I do understand that he was tangling with Queen and King for quite some time, but that was quite some time ago. He has the Phoenix fruit. He can heal himself. So I figured like he's just been kind of chilling, like fodder smashing. But nah, he says himself that he's injured as he's carrying Izo, and he's wondering why Izo is making him like carry him around. To which Izo responds, he heard about the Crescendo, and he just has this weird feeling about it. And so I'm wondering what Oda is trying to convey here. Is the weird feeling he's getting related to his sister Kiku, who's injured, who's at death's door? Is he gonna run into Kiku? Is he gonna run into a situation where he gets to fight? So I'm very curious about that. Is he gonna try to stop the Crescendo himself? I don't know any possible way he would be able to do that. So very curious there. Meanwhile, we have a panel of just Big Mom rampaging. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I will say, and this is not a critique on Oda or like the rest of the arc. It's just I've been really frustrated with Big Mom. I have a lot of friends that really like love her, that think she's a great character and think that like her role in the story is going to be significant. And I believe that too. But just the entire story, she's been made a mockery of. She's been doing foolish things. She's been getting amnesia. She's been getting hunger pangs. And it just drastically changes the pace of what's happening. One minute, I think we're finally going to have this fight with Big Mom, Kid, and Law. And then we did have a moment where we had this really amazing, dope fight. And then they used their awakenings. And then I'm thinking, okay, is that it? And honestly, it kind of looks like they're down for the count. Big Mom's off rampaging again. It's kind of like, okay, what's going on here? What's the goal here? What's happening? And like, is she gonna be defeated here? Is she gonna go with us to like Elbath? And it's really, really annoying to kind of deal with at this point, because it kind of got, I remember when we first discovered that we were going to be dealing with two Yonkos at once. I thought it was ridiculous. I was already thinking like, is Luffy going to take care of both of them? Is Luffy going to take care of one of them and then maybe Kid takes care of the other? But I'm a little upset because Luffy has beef with both of them. He had beef with Big Mom first because of the whole Fishman Island thing, and then it grew deeper because of the whole Sanji thing. And then we had Kaido, who we have beef with now because, he's friends with Momo and Kinemon now. and he's friends with Otama, and he knows what like what Kaido's been responsible for. He knows what he did to Odin and all this stuff. So now like he's invested in that. And it just seems like Luffy has completely been vested in Kaido over Big Mom, which once again, super weird because Big Mom really fucked over, really did bad things to Fishman Island, fucked over Sanji, made him leave the crew. You think he would want to fight Big Mom just as bad as he wants to fight Kaido, but for some reason he's more interested in Kaido. I'm not quite understanding why. So I don't know, just constantly just Big Mom just randomly doing her own thing does bother me a little bit, but that's a personal grievance. Anyway, there is just a clusterfuck of things happening right now. We have Yamato running around trying to disarm the bombs, and I say disarm because they're not bombs. It's just an armory full of weaponry, full of gunpowder, and it's just a situation where if they get put on fire, it's going to explode. So I truly do not understand what she intends to do. We do know that she has ice powers, and every YouTuber and their mom has been predicting that she's probably going to use her ice powers to freeze the ammo and whatnot. But my thing is this, like, wet ammo won't detonate, right? Like you can't fire it, gunpowder, whatever. But if you have something that is creating massive amounts of fire and heat, it can easily just thaw out the ammo, dry it out with its fire, and then produce the explosion, right? Unless it'll kind of, the ammo and the gunpowder and whatnot won't be as effective. So I don't know. This is a really weird thing. I think it was either Sawyer 7 or Tekking that said this, but they figured that maybe she was going to fight the Crescendo. I'm not sure if that's the route they're going, but that makes a lot of sense. So while she's doing that, Fuga has been trying to get her attention since like last chapter. Like it seems to like he really, really has something he wants to get across. And also, to my surprise, it seems like Yamato has a relationship to him. Like this isn't. I was under the premise. I was going with everyone else who was like the top 3 numbers are the former samurai that she was imprisoned with. And so now, like, he's seen her for the first time. He finally gets to communicate with her. Maybe he can't fully speak, and maybe Apu is the only person that can like truly understand and convey what they're saying, and was trying to talk to there because Apu is desperately trying to tell her something as well. And I think it's just more than let's be allies. It's like, hey, they're trying to talk to you. They know you. They're homies. But in this chapter, it's kind of you kind of get the feel that Yamato actually knows them. Like Yamato even says during a part like, hey, can't talk to you now, can't catch up with you now. I have to do something, to which Fuga is still chasing after her. So I found that to be really, really interesting. But like I said, she's just too much in a hurry to address him. Also, something interesting we find out about Fuga is he kind of has like a centaur, kind of minotaur, like ancient giant minotaur body. So this is getting really interesting with the fact that these obviously could be experimentations where it's both an experimentation with the ancient giant genes as well as the animal genes, because I was confused. Something I was asking myself literally before reading this is, why do they laugh if the smile fruit was successful? Because some of them did look like animals. And then even here now, when he has the centaur body, I'm like, okay, clearly he got, the smile fruit centaur ability. So why is he laughing if the smile fruit was a success? So I think that's going to be a big, big, big key in later on in the coming chapters of this story. I don't have any clues yet, but I do think it's going to be something relevant. The fact that he does have, an animal body, and as well as being a quote unquote artificial ancient giant. So Robin and Brooke are fleeing from CP0 and end up landing on Fuga. And so they're just about to attack the CP0 when the CP0 are, I guess, engulfed, you could say, by the Crescendo and put on fire. But don't worry, it honestly doesn't really do anything. It's barely an inconvenience. They're up and at them in a few pages, right? And so Yamato takes notice of the Crescendo and pieces together the risk it poses because of its ability not only to light things on fire but to travel through walls. So she's like, holy fuck, I really have to do something. So maybe this might be the situation where she does combat the Crescendo herself, or she just rushes even further to the sub basement where the armory is, and she even asks Fuga for help with this. So once again, it just showcases even further that they have a past relationship, that she knows Fuga, and that she knows Fuga to a degree and level that she can request help from Fuga, expecting Fuga to help him. So I don't know. That kind of throws off my samurai theory, because if she has such a close relationship with him, why wouldn't she have pieced together or known that, this is one of the Wano samurai that saved her? So there's a lot of stuff in the air right here. I'm very curious, and I would love to know you guys' thoughts on this as well. Also, something I just thought of while I was editing this chapter, Brook also has ice powers. On top of that, he has soul powers. So it wouldn't be unreasonable for him to fight the Kazembo. So that might be his moment to shine. Not only could he use his ice powers against the Kazembo's fire, but possibly the soul powers, because the Kazembo seems to have some sort of like lingering will. So anyway, that's just a thought as well. Anyway, Apu uses this opportunity to take pictures of the CP0. They've walked out the fire. They're pretty much fine, and he threatens to send them to Morgan's. And honestly, this is a huge deal because it exploits the Marine / world government's involvement in working with the Yonko, which is obviously something that they don't want to get out, which is why immediately one of the CP0 members clocks this man, bro. He straight boop, bangs this man, bro. And I was honestly super heated. I was like, are you shitting me? Are you shitting me? Is Apu either that weak that he was one banged by a CP0 member? I don't care how strong these guys are. I'm like, they can't be like, I want to say like Chichibukai level, can they? But at the same time, I'm like, or is this, so it's either Apu is this weak or they're that strong, but it just bothered me tremendously. And part of me was like, well, maybe this is good that they didn't fight, Robin and Brooke if they're this powerful. So I'll get to what happens next, but it did bother me a little bit at first. But yeah, obviously they can't have this and attack Apu immediately. And then they turn to attack X Drake. And then there's more interesting exposition dropped. And basically they mention his true alliance. But this is unclear as to if they're talking about if it's to the Marines or if it's to Sword. Because we still don't know if Sword is actually like a Marine world government sanctioned organization, or if it's a secret organization within the Marines trying to maybe, kind of like, when, what's that thing? Internal affairs with the police, where they have their own group of people doing things because, so there's some sussy, shady stuff going on. So they have like, cops investigating cops. What if a situation like that where they're aware that there was a group like this but maybe didn't know the members or didn't know the details? So I'm really, really wondering what exactly he's trying to get at when he makes this statement. All right. So anyway, Apu is alive. Thank God. They try to attack X Drake, and immediately Apu uses his music fruit, his sound fruit, to counter attack them. X Drake is surprised, to which Apu responds, I know hockey, dumbass. I know armament hockey. So they're very happy that happened. Was gonna be super pissed if he was Wong banged. It was gonna be a tremendous issue for me. I really felt heated about that. So like honestly, I'm so glad that wasn't the case, that he was just like one and done. And so I also love the irony that like X Drake is like forced to go into the alliance that like Apu was proposing earlier, but really wasn't about. Now he like has to do it. And I just think that's so funny that he has to participate in the alliance that Apu wanted from the jump. Although I am slightly annoyed that this comes at the expense of a Brook fight or a Brook Robin fight. Brook hasn't really gotten to do anything amazing in this, and I'm just really waiting for. I've said this to many friends of mine, but we haven't had a moment like Ennis Lobby where each and every single Straw Hat has gotten to individually shine. Like Brook has taken out fodder, that's cool, but like I want to see him take out someone of substantial importance and strength. Same with Nami, same with Usopp. They've just been kind of skirting around bullshit, and it's starting to really get to me. I'm really hoping that, maybe when their moment to shine will be after, the monster trio is down and out, and they have to be the ones to protect the Pirate King. They have to be the ones to step up because Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro aren't going to be able to do it. So I'm really, really hoping that's the case. Anyway, I've never really been a fan of Drake, but I'm excited to see the full extent of Apu's powers and possibly an awakening, because we got the awakenings with Law and Kid earlier. I kind of have a theory that what Big Mom did to herself may possibly be her awakening or have something to do with her awakening. And then, as much as I have never been a fan of Drake and don't like Drake that much and always honestly found it to be kind of boring, especially with just the dinosaur fruit. Like at first it was cool because it's a dinosaur, but then, once you like go up in the world that is One Piece and everyone has hockey and all these abilities, being a dinosaur is no longer that big a threat. It's no longer that cool. Like, so I was just like not interested. But if Drake can exhibit anything like Sasaki has, Kaku has, what King shows later in this chapter, what Queen has been showing, where like he just has some random ability that you would not expect of a dinosaur, that would be interesting. But still, I'm more into this fight because of Apu than Drake himself. But if he has an insane zone ability, I would really love to see how Oda pulls that off, and how he showcases that. So anyway, we have the final part of the match. I mean the chapter, and it's Zoro versus King. And Zoro is fucking struggling, bro. This is way different than the rooftop, where even though Kaido is obviously the much bigger threat, Zoro had 5 other motherfuckers with him, as well as the fact that Kaido wasn't like trying to evade his attacks, wasn't really flying around. Kaido was just kind of humoring them and taking on attacks, letting them, test out attacks on him and stuff like that. So like this is kind of rough. And also like Zoro hasn't used Ashura or anything like that on King yet. King is flying around. He has the advantage with the air, being able to fight in the air, aerial combat, to which Zoro is really struggling. He does have his wind, his slashes, his energy or wind slashes that he can send up. He does use Dragon Twister and whatnot, but honestly, it's not very effective. King is blocking it with his wings and presumably hockey, I would assume. And so it's just looking really, really rough for Zoro, because he's like, this isn't his type of fight. Like he needs to be able to attack and hit his opponent, and he's a dude with swords, not guns. So how is he supposed to take out this airborne opponent, right? And then Oda hits us with another classic random ability out the cut. And to be honest with you, I would be lying if I told you I understood half of what the fuck King just did. He just pulled the top of, I don't even know what he did or whatever it is. Just pulls the top of his head all the way back, pulls it, cranks it, gets enough tension going, and releases it. And I don't understand if he fired something. I don't understand if it was air pressure. I don't understand any of what happened. All I know is Zoro says whatever came down almost as if it was like a laser, and he couldn't like deflect it or anything. I truly hope that there's an explanation going on, because Oda didn't give one in this chapter, but it's crazy what we're witnessing. And I just love the fact that like he's like, this is how ancient Pteranodon used to hunt. And I'm just like, Oda back at it again with the bullshit, bro. Don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying it. It's great bullshit nonetheless, but it's still bullshit. So like, I'm loving it. And so, this whole fight, Zoro is just trying to figure out what the hell he can do to fight this dude. I don't think he's going to get anything like Skywalk to help him, but he's going to have to figure something out sooner than later, and he's just trying to figure out where does King's devil fruit abilities end, and where does his natural abilities and physiology begin? Because he then asks him, "Hey, that fire on your head, that's part of your Pteranodon ability, right?" And King's just like, "No." And it's just like Zoro's like, "I don't fucking know. You're out here doing weird fucking shit. Like it's hard to know what's what." And the part that something that bothers me is Zoro says something to the effect of, "If only I knew like what he was or how he's doing like shit, like I could fight him." But I'm like, no, no, you couldn't. How does knowing that, by the way, the fact that did he not mention the whole Lunarian thing in front of him? But even if he didn't, the whole fact that him flying, him knowing that he's a Lunarian and how he has fire, I don't understand how that's going to help you in the fight at all anyway. So that was kind of weird for me. I'm kind of hoping that it's a weird just translation thing. But yeah, I'm not really understanding that at all. But yeah, so I don't know why he did this. I'm very happy he did this. King decides to humor Zoro and fight in his default form. And Zoro, the whole time he's fighting, is just trying to figure out what the hell is happening, how to beat him, and what is up with this dude and his physiology. And he notices that in his default form, he has wings that he can use to fight, but for whatever reason doesn't fly with. And I'm trying to recall if I've ever seen King fly with his black, like angel looking wings. I'm surprised Zoro's not making like inferences of like the time they went to like Sky Island or anything like that. So I'm very curious. But yeah, it's very obvious that the wings King has currently have no relationship, no correlation to his Pteranodon wings. His Pteranodon wings are clearly Pteranodon wings, and when he's in his person, they're clearly like angel black demonic wings. And I'm wondering if like the whole Nico Robin demonia thing was kind of like a clue towards that. So long story short, things are not going good well for Zoro. And the next time we see him, he is laid out flat on the ground, just suffering, honestly. And then he hears the Shimizan, and all of a sudden, Enma just reacts to it and starts, and you can see his arm is just being drained of its hockey. And I'm gonna be real with you, as a super Zoro fan, I was kind of livid because I have hated Enma since the moment on the rooftop where he let out a major attack. Big Mom told Kaido to dodge, and Kaido was saying something of like, "Oh my God, I felt Odin for a minute," or "I felt Odin talking for a minute." That pissed me off. It's kind of probably like how the Sanji fans were pissed off when Sanji became an actual like Germa enhanced human being. That's how I felt, because I've always wanted not Sanji, Zoro to be like strong on his own merit, no shortcuts, no like random power ups or enhancements, all power, all skill, all heart. And the moment that thing happened on the rooftop, I was hoping that it was going to be a misnomer, a one time thing. This wasn't going to happen again. He wasn't just going to, I want Zoro to be strong because he's strong, not because he has strong swords. Yes, this is going to sound really complicated. Yes, I've wanted him to collect the strongest swords, but I've always pictured the swords as just, like great tools for, a toolsman, great swords for a swordsman. I don't want him to individually have insane powers. I would like him to, maybe have some quirks or something like that, like some really like interesting things that they do, but I don't want them to be power in and of itself. I just wanted a situation more like when he would break his swords, and this is a situation where like these swords would just be harder to break, they'll cut better. Long story short, I just wanted them to be a catalyst, a medium for him to be able to use 100% of his strength. The way it has always been in my head is, if he has shitty swords, he cannot bring out the best of his swordsmanship. So by getting these elite swords, he can bring out all of who he is, right? That's kind of how I've always pictured it. But Enma kind of changed the whole game for me. I don't like that it feels like, Odin is what injured Kaido, not Zoro. And that's always going to be a cause of like contention. And even now, like if he does something with this sword, it's going to be the sword, not Zoro. And I have a huge, huge problem with that. But I trust Oda. we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna have faith in Oda. He hasn't let me down yet. So we find out where the Shimizen is coming from. Also, by the way, the fact that Iori is playing the Shimizen, I'm wondering if Oden's Haki is reacting to that of his daughter. I'm also still wondering if Iori has swordsmanship skills. Honestly, I'm really hoping that he doesn't keep Enma. Emma clearly belongs in the hands of Momo and Hiyori. Maybe Momo, if he learns the two sword style, he's gonna need two swords, and they should be his father's. Maybe Zoro gets Shishui back. Especially if he finds out that he is related to Ryuma, and then maybe the updated Katetsu sword. So anyway, yeah, we see Hiyori, and Orochi is drawn to the music, and he finds her. Still doesn't know that she's Hiyori, and he's super excited, super happy. He's had like a thing for her for a while. He's wanted to pipe for a while, and he's like, "Oh, I've always like wanted to be with you, blah blah blah, and you're here, yada yada yada." And also, this might confirm she was the one to heal the scabbards in the first place. Also, she says something along the lines of like, "Yeah, I always want I want our lives. I want to be together forever." She says, "All I want, my lord, is for us to spend the rest of our lives together," which is such a red flag on the play. Clearly, I think she is willing to sacrifice herself to kill Orochi here. I'm really hoping that we see some kind of abilities from her. I've always felt like there's something more to her than meets the eye. For these 20 years, I feel like she hasn't just been, pretending to be a geisha, not learning anything. She said earlier on in the arc that she wants to kill Orochi. This is going to be her chance. I don't think she's going to be able to do it alone, but nonetheless, I think we're about to have a phenomenal moment, and we're going to see some really, really cool things from Hiyori. And I'm wondering just, if there is some kind of connection between Odin's sword and Hiyori's shamisen. So yeah, I'm gonna leave the review there for now because that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. And my camera just died, so I want to get my outro out before it does again. But I hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you have any questions or comments on anything I said, please let me know. What were your thoughts on the chapter? How would you rate it? What were your favorite parts? Did I miss something interesting that or did you notice something in the chapter that I didn't notice, that I didn't mention? Please let me know. I love hearing stuff like that. I love knowing if I missed stuff, so I can go back and see it, so I can craft theories from it. So yeah, this has been Otaku Talk. I'm your host, OD. Thank you guys for watching. It means so much to me. Have a great day. Please like, share, and subscribe. And peace. Take care.